The chef will demonstrate for you upscale recipes he himself has created to complement the menus of bowling centers. We're excited to have him here and confident that the culinary concepts he demonstrates this morning will leave you with great new menu ideas to implement in your centers. And after he shows you what he has created for your menus, there will be samples. So, Chef Neil.
Thanks very much. Good morning. First of all, thank you very much for spending what was that, 110 million with me? Keep it coming, guys. So I did hear some statistics last night. Actually, once he started drinking the Mai Tais, I got all kinds of information about bowling out of him. I didn't realize that more people have touched a bowling ball than any other sporting equipment piece. I kind of thought about that, right? That's pretty wild. I mean, if you think about it, the amount of sports in America and that, So what I try to do is I try to look at trends, and I try to look at, the level of labor that you have at your properties. So I didn't want to do anything, because chefs can be overly creative and then sometimes really stupid. They come up with these great ideas that nobody can execute because it's called chef ego. So I try to take the chef ego piece out. And I try to say, okay, if I had these kids that half the time I'm at the backside of the dumpster trying to get them out from behind the dumpster smoking pot, how do I get them inside to do some work for me? I mean, it's this generation's a little, I guess my parents used to say the same thing about this generation, and I think we all say it, but it's getting harder and harder to find people that are willing and want to kind of learn the food and beverage trade, and as you well know, you're using a lot of high school kids, and it's pretty hard. I do some training and menu ideation with a large, I don't know what we call it, Six Flags, one of those guys, those kind of deals. And they have very much the same issue. They want to have decent food, I'm going to put it that way. They want to have decent food that is the same pretty much day in, day out. And that's the hardship. That's the hardest part of our game, is how do we get the same product served day in, day out, without waste, and to make money. As you well know, and I talked a little earlier, was about labor. This labor situation is going to be hard on all of us. It doesn't make a difference what business you're in. It's going to make us have to sharpen our pencils. It's going to really make us have to really wonder how we're going to go about it. Even in my industry, I have 200 chefs, and I actually talked to all of their bosses. And I asked them one simple question: do you have the right chef? Because if you don't have the right chef going into next year, you're going to be severely at a disadvantage. So you're going to make a decision now. Is he the guy that's going to be able to get out there in front of customers, do what I do, but also understand the customers, be able to bring that ideation forward? The bottom line is I'm making a decision now to make sure I've got the right people in my positions, and that's something I'm going to reach out and say. It's really something that you've really got to look at. Do you have the right people? Do you have the right players? I mean, it's not going to be cheap anymore. So just having people, just having bodies is not going to work. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at some cool items that are very, very simple to make, and really, how many guys know this millennial craze? How many people really like that word, millennial? I mean, isn't it kind of scary that our entire lives are going to now be wrapped around people under the age of 24? I mean, it's kind of scary. But the biggest, anybody hands up, anybody know where the fastest growing food and beverage market segment is right now? No, where? What kind of brand? What kind of product? Anybody know? Gas stations. My God, I'm doing more business with to go and grab and go food at gas stations, and they're not gas stations anymore, they're food emporiums. And they're very much like what you guys are doing. It's food that is quick to prepare, but you gotta watch the labor part. So what we do is we match up with them the right companies that make the sauces that don't taste like paste picante, because you can't, if you have paste picante, the guy down the street has paste picante. So you have to look at how do we find new items for them. But then the next one right after them is supermarkets. My God, you go into a supermarket now and they can set your whole meal up for you. So people are starting to do this where they go in and they can grab items quickly, and we're becoming more and more fast food grabbing, but it's not fast food like we grew up with. It's healthy fast food, or it's perceived healthy. So it's something to think about what you're doing. I know that some of your biggest movers are pizzas, of course, right? Because of I mean, I've been to 1 million bowling parties for birthdays and stuff, so I get it. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. It's easy. Throw in the birthday cake, make some really good money. But what are we doing I noticed some of the, like in California, I've been to a couple of bowling alleys where they actually have these tapas-style menus, and you can get it's almost like going to a mini cheesecake factory. But reality is that doesn't happen everywhere because it's all different markets. But food is becoming very important. And if you hear the word from millennials, it's all about food to them. Anybody see that new item that they had in there from Doritos where you tear the bag open and you fill it? And the first time I talked to somebody last night, the first thing they said to me is chili and cheese. Right. Well, that's technically everybody does that. You could take these items. They're going to be promoting it in the Super Bowl this year. I'm running with my chefs a program for the next Super Bowl, so we're looking into the next Super Bowl. Those toppers, the sky's the limit. There's poke kits now. Anybody ever buy a poke kit in here? Probably not. You don't. It's the hottest moving craze in LA right now. You can buy the tuna already diced and the sauce already made. You just defrost the tuna, add the sauce, and you've got poke. All right? Anybody not know what poke is? Don't feel embarrassed. I didn't know. We're in Hawaii. We better know what it is now, right? It's technically raw. It's raw tuna with this kind of really nice sesame and ginger sauce that you fold in, and it's served, cold. So it's like technically a sauced sushi. But here you are. You can take one of these packets, open it up, put the poke in it, and hit it with a jalapeno dressing, like a jalapeno ranch, and now you've got this Hawaiian play on chips. This stuff is inexpensive. You defrost as you go, but let me tell you, in LA, it's one of the fastest trending. I know, LA, I know. But it's a fast-moving item that's going to come across the country because they figured out that it's inexpensive and it's fresh. But let me tell you, who's eating that stuff? The younger generation. My kids used to go to this sushi place and get the bento box at lunchtime in high school. Are you kidding me? We didn't know what raw fish was. It was like fried where I came from. So we've really got to try and think, and I know it's a lot of, generationally we're not the same as they are, but we all have kids and grandchildren. So it's really important to look at where that's going because it's amazing. Food is still continuing to sell, and it always sells. The hamburger. How many people in here have hamburgers on the menu? Okay, out of that hamburger, you can just roar it out. Is it really a great seller? Yeah, because, no matter how bad life is, people buy beer and hamburgers. We're in the middle of a recession. They buy hamburgers. Why do they buy hamburgers? They buy hamburgers because they know what it is. They're not going to be scared. They know it's a bun, there's a piece of meat, some cheese, maybe some lettuce. In Texas, they hate the lettuce part, but bottom line is, it's easy. People know what it is, and they feel comfortable. But how much is a hamburger now when you go out? Oh my God, I think the average hamburger is anywhere from $7 to $12. And let me tell you something, how many people in this room have spent that kind of money on a hamburger? Not outside of the $19 one here. I thought that was a little crazy. Right, we're so used to, we're now been actually trained to spend money on hamburgers. And we're trained to spend money on hamburgers for perceived value. We're willing to pay for a hamburger. Are you willing to charge for a hamburger? So I'm running a promotion with frozen patties for my entire sales force over the next 3 months. And what we do is we send it out to all the chefs, and they come up with unique combinations. Because this is what this generation's about, is unique combinations. Sriracha is now outselling ketchup in all universities. Ketchup is off the table. They don't want it. They want sriracha. Sriracha ranch. Oh my God. I mean, it's sriracha everything. But even so, I have it here, sriracha seasoning. Dry. You sprinkle it on your French fries. Now you've got French fries with sriracha seasoning. On your board, it sounds a lot sexier than French fries, right? McDonald's, before they kind of got into this little bit of a hiccup last year, and they went into the breakfast portfolio, which saved them. Do you know why? Millennials do not want to be told when to eat. They want to eat breakfast when they want to eat breakfast. They want to eat lunch when they want to eat. And the whole country is going out of its mind, especially university feeders. We don't know what to do because they do not want to eat lunch at lunchtime. They do not eat breakfast at breakfast time. Anybody ever heard of a concept called pret-a-manger? Anybody out of the New York area or Boston? No? Pret-a-manger is this kind of sexy grab-and-go concept, going back to that gas station thing where everything is natural and organic, but you grab it and you go, it's already pre-made and ready to go. That is this. I think there's one on every corner of Manhattan and Boston and Chicago. They're like thank you, Starbucks. It's like out of nowhere, bang, here they are. So the deal is we have to be able to come forward with some of those kind of cool items because even the younger kids are listening to their older siblings. I mean, if you're cooking hamburgers, do you have the ability to do an egg? If you have the ability to do an egg, you need to put an egg on the burger as an offering. An egg is cheap. You can get an extra $1.25 for an egg. How much does an egg cost? Huh? I just want to make sure before I said anything that I didn't mess up with the contract here. All right, 12 cents. But yeah, really. But the bottom line is it's a cheap item. That's how you play the game. You're using some cheap items. I'm going to be putting out baskets in front of you in a few minutes. Do you know the price of the chicharron?
It's on the recipe card, actually.
All right, so the chicharron is pork skins, right? Rinds. We have one that's lightly smoked. You just throw it in the fryer and it quadruples. Well, I think it's 6 times its size when it goes in the fryer and blows up. Cheap. Brown bag, chicharron, and a jalapeno dipping sauce. Made in-house, house-fried, pork is big. It's a great item. You put a little bit of sriracha seasoning on it. I'm talking about a moneymaker. You'd be absolutely crazy in my mind if you don't look at this. It's a great item. It's a great item as a side to go with a hamburger besides French fries. It's kind of unique because you're offering something with a heavy crunch. And as you probably well know, America now is at least 40% Hispanic. Chicharron, or pork rinds where we come from, chicharron is the same thing. This is big. This is a big product. It comes, let me grab it. Dry storage. You don't have to have cooler space for it. You got a little zoom in there. Can we see in there? All right, that's it. Dry storage. Throw it in your fryer. If I threw this in the fryer right now, minus the container, it would be a basket full. This is incredible. It's on trend. It's a no-brainer. If you're frying fries, how I tell my guys at operations to do it, fry it like tortilla chips, fry it before service, put it in a Cambro, you're off to the races. Brown paper bag, make it look old school. Put it in the brown paper bag, roll up the end, give it to them with a little solo cup or a little, what do they call the little ones with the lids? Yeah, souffle cups, thank you. Put a little souffle cup of the jalapeno or poblano avocado dipping sauce or a sriracha ranch. This is a moneymaker. You'll make more money on that, will you? Will on potato chips. And what's even more cool about it is you're doing it in your own place. It's kind of cool. If everybody's into this artisan or we do it in-house feel, that's a moneymaker. Can you hear the sound of money? Love this stuff. Anyway, so let's talk about a few items. So I've already spilled over the poke bit in here, but pork belly, God, anything can go in these deals. This fits right into your game. I did it right this time. They told me it was pretty easy, but they've got 4 different varieties, and I'm not doing this for Pepsi, but I like the concept that it fits into what you're doing. So the bottom line is you can put any topping on this. People are even putting fried chicken, chopping the fried chicken, which is your chicken tenders, right? Throwing it in, hitting it with some ranch, and then throwing a little coleslaw on top. You've got to go way outside of your comfort zone. Don't start thinking how we ate, because how we ate doesn't count anymore. To be quite honest with you, it does not count. We've got to really kind of look at it and go, hey, what are they eating? How do we get it in their mouth? Because honestly, if you think about your demographics outside of bowling leagues, most of them are young, right? You get them up to, I'm going to make an assumption and you guys can shoot me down. You get them up to high school until they can probably start to drink and then they disappear. Pretty close in some markets. Because we used to do the lockouts for our kids. You know what I mean? When they graduate, they do the lockout, or lock in, yeah. We were locking them out of the house, they were locking them in the bowling alley. But the bottom line was, they get there, it's that generation, they're the ones that are eating, and that's who we really should be looking at, honestly, because the rest of us will buy a hamburger. We're quite happy with a hamburger or a bratwurst or something like that. But we've got to start thinking, what can we utilize or what can we do for that generation? Because, like it or not, they're going to control us. There's more of them than there is of us. So we're going to talk about a couple of items that can make some money, and it's not a sales pitch. I'm just going to talk, what I'm going to talk about is items that do not take labor, because labor is going to be very, very hard for all of us. Pork belly already comes smoked and ready to go. It's a little pricey, but a slice of this on a BLT or a slice of this on a hamburger, it sounds sexy. So here you've got a grilled burger with whatever fancy mayonnaise was sticking on it with pork belly instead of bacon. And all we're going to do is we're going to take that pork belly and you're just going to slice it by hand. I know you don't want to put knives into too many people's hands, but honestly, pork belly is a money maker. You're just going to slice it like this. Very, very simple. Throw that on the flat top. A couple of minutes, not even a couple of minutes, maybe 45 seconds on each side, and then stick it on top of the burger. That is a bit of definitely a millennial kind of play, the pork belly kind of play on it. Do a local cheddar. It's a little bit more expensive for a local cheddar or for a Tillamook or one of those ones, but you go to these fancy burger chains that they're all eating in now, that's what they're offering. So we can't get so far away from what the offerings are becoming. I mean, Five Guys, Smash Burgers, these are the guys that are selling burgers. These are the guys that are selling expensive burgers. So if we continue to just do that mundane hamburger, it's going to be no more than, it's going to be a picnic version. Whereas by adding a little bit of a pork belly or a flavored mayonnaise or something like that. Somebody here from Louisiana. Where are you? There you are. Remoulade on a burger. Fried crawfish tails on a burger. You don't have to stop where we've always stopped before. Actually, we do a burger where we actually put the pork rinds in there for crunch. People like this, like the old-fashioned putting the Cheetos. The idea is giving crunch and texture, and that's what they're looking for. Things that are a little bit kind of outside the regular deal. I mean, it's that easy. Just start thinking outside. It's amazing. We used to do it for the high school. A buddy of mine owned a burger place, and what he did for the high school kids was one of the football players gets to name each week to build a burger, and they put the burger on the board, and that's his. And at the end of the month, the best guy out of the four wins a gift card for like $80, free burgers, whatever, right? But the bottom line was he'd send all his buddies in to buy that burger because he wanted to win. How cool was that? I mean, it's not fancy marketing. It's not big money. It's common sense. You get that peer pressure on the kids and force them into naming something after the school. Or, how many guys, I'm sure you guys do it, like pennies back or cents back to the school on certain items, to high schools and stuff? No? Yeah, please, come on, yeah. Support. The bottom line is, it's gimmicks like that. If the school's getting, because we give cards out where I'm from a suburb of Houston and Katy, and we give out cards for the Boosters Club. So the family center or the bowling alley could be on there, and for every time we're spending there, every time the card's used, 50 cents goes back to the school, or $1. But the bottom line, that is driving loyalty through neighborhoods and through schools. But it's all tax writable off. You can write it off as well, which is even nicer. But the bottom line is it's kind of cool little plays like that. But if you allow them to kind of put in like the Mustang burger, or like where we are, we got five high schools. So it's easy. We could go 5 high schools against each other. I mean, so you're almost kind of running a game against each other. All righty. Enough talking for a minute. Let me actually make something. So we're going to start off with a couple of easy plays on stuff. Mac and cheese. Easy. Item here. So we talked about pork belly. Burnt ends. Anybody heard, I know, I'm going to ask a million food questions, and burnt ends. Anybody heard of Kansas City burnt ends? All right, got a few people. All right. Burnt ends in Kansas is pork, barbecue, burnt ends. We now sell them already made. This is an item that's trending. All we do is open this packet, stick it in the oven, roast it. You can add a sauce to it if you want. We're going to do a couple of little plays on it. Now, through the magic of Julia Child and the chef back there helping me out, we've actually got some of these items already started, so it allows me to talk. So I've got mac and cheese. Oh my God, there's a million variations out of this. My favorite one's a boil in the bag. Keeps everything clean in the kitchen. Don't have to worry about scrubbing pots. Pot of hot water. Bang, you're in the game. So we're going to get a spoon. So for the recipe card, we'd put the mac and cheese. Now this is not going to be a lobster mac and cheese, but same kind of play. We figured that how do we make an item that is somewhat kid-friendly but also comfort food-friendly, right? Something that people recognize but kind of make a little bit of a play on it. So the burnt ends, when they're roasted, are beautiful, nice chunks of pork. So we got these nice chunks of pork. Of course, we also have brisket ends as well. Simple. Now, the play is on this. The play to make it a little bit more is cornbread. So we took over cornbread, if I can find the back, and we crumbled up the cornbread. Now, you can buy pre-made cornbread. What I did was I have another dish that's using the cornbread, so then this would be the leftovers or the stales or the broken pieces. So we took the cornbread and crumbled it, and we're going to make it, it's like a little crumble. But what we're doing is we're adding another layer of flavor in here. Now, based on what you have available, it could be diced tomato if that's what you're using in your operation. Me, I love cherry tomatoes. And these are these sexy heirloom tomatoes. Don't spend the money on the heirloom tomatoes. Not unless you've got one of these organic bowling alleys. I don't think there's a lot of those yet. So we've got our little cherry tomatoes for a little color. And then it depends on what you have available. I like to bang this up a little bit. So our part of the country, down south, we like heat. So I got some red chilies. So we got some red chilies in there for a little bit of heat on that mac and cheese, and then some cilantro. It could also be parsley. But it's that simple to put out a little dish that looks a little bit more than just mac and cheese. So the bottom line is that this is so easy. So how many, any of you guys sell baked beans or Boston baked beans or ranch beans in your operations right now? Do you know how much money you can make on baked beans? Lots of money. So we're going to, same thing. So I think this will be more of an East Coast kind of play though. Baked beans. Same play. I don't know any of you guys, anybody ever been to England? Anybody eat baked beans in England over here? Right? Hands up, because you're going to love this joke. We call baked beans on toast skinheads on a raft. One of my favorites. Somebody put it up to me, and he looked like he was one of them, so I didn't argue. So baked beans, once again, a simple item. We're using the beautiful pork ends, and I'm just trying to get some usage on these pork ends. I mean, they're beautiful, smoked, ready to go. You can chop them if you want to. Anybody can actually do them. So on this one, we just kind of wanted to mix it up a little bit as far as colors go. And this one's an easy one. A little pico de gallo. Now, pico de gallo, the only thing that most of you would have to buy a little bit differently was cilantro. You've already got the onions. You've already got the tomatoes for your burger setups, right? And I'm sure you've got some sort of jalapeno for your nachos. So technically, you're chopping up the jalapeno. You're using all your leftover ends, actually. Cutting your tomatoes and items like that. So a little pico de gallo. A little flavoring on there. But that is that simple to put an item, an old-fashioned baked beans, pork ends, and pico de gallo. It's once again, how much labor do you think you need for this? Zippo. I mean, it's pretty, I mean, this is the whole idea behind some of these items is to kind of make it where it's a no-brainer. I hate to use that word, but With this labor thing going up, you're going to have to say, we're not going to have as many, but if we're going to get a couple, right, let's make sure they're the right ones. And I hate to put it this way, but it's not Jenny who's been with us for 15 years. That's not going to work anymore, be honest with you. It really will not work anymore. You're going to be in a stage here where you're going to, if you're going to be profitable and you're going to be able to pop this stuff out, you're going to need some speed. And you're going to make sure that you have the right person. I'm in the same predicament with my chefs right now. Some of them are great guys, but they just don't have it. And I'm going to have to make a decision. So sometimes it's really you have to look at, can I get the right one or two to knock out good food? Any questions?
Where do we find the right guy?
You know something? That's a great question. I use my family usually because I can put something over on them. No, but the bottom line is it's not easy. The biggest issue, and you guys live this, is hours, right? They want X amount of hours. And with the new labor laws, I guess most are keeping under the 28 hours, right? It's a tough one, but I would rather have one or two decent people I can train that have full-time status, and you keep it at full, for two people versus a whole army of them. But you're kind of worried about they're going to show up. The one thing I did, and you're going to love this one, when I used to interview people, I'd interview them and then I'd walk them. This is not legal, so this is not on behalf of Cisco. This is before I joined Cisco, right? I'd always bring them around, around the place, and then we'd go outside and say, well, if you want, we've got a couple of minutes. That was a really good interview. If you want to have a cigarette or something. And what do you think happened? When they lit up? Lit out. If you are hiring for the food and beverage business, and this is just Neil Doherty's take on it. I'm Irish, I'm an immigrant, and I can get away with it. I don't hire anybody in my kitchens that smoke. Never have, never will. I hate to say it, I used to smoke myself, so it's not totally. The deal is that I've done work case studies where I've had to let people go. I used to work for the Hilton Corporation. My chefs would be working for me for 12 hours a day, and I'd be getting nothing accomplished. Why was I getting nothing accomplished? The cigarette breaks all the time, and what happens when he left the kitchen? The crew goes, well, if he's having a break, I'm having a break. And so that's just something to think about. Honestly, it's you want to be able to get in that kitchen or that food operation, you want to be able to get as much as you can out of them, and you want them in the kitchen. All right, pork belly. Ooh, God. How many people's had pork belly out there? Oh, my God, isn't that the best? Oh, my God. Years ago, this bacon was bad for you. Now they don't care. All right, so talking about BLTs. Sometimes it's worth buying a little bit better bread. And now this is totally up to you and your market demographics and everything else, but sometimes it's better to buy a little bit better bread, a little bit better presentation. Do you know why? You can make some serious money on BLTs. Bacon's cheap. You got the tomatoes in hand already. You're talking about a mayonnaise and some lettuce. Do you think this is a better seller than a better profit maker than burgers? Hell yeah. This is a money maker right here. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to cut it, and what I usually do is I put it on a little bit of butter, but for this one, we got all that bacon fat in there, so why not? I don't know, and I grew up as a kid, they used to fry the bread for breakfast in the bacon fat, so, and I survived. So it can't all be bad, right? Okay, so mayonnaises that are already made because you don't want to be worried about recipes and mixing and stuff like that. We actually have two that are very good right now, a couple of my favorites. We have a poblano avocado. You're going to be tasting it today. And, oh yeah. Well, that got pretty toasty fast. Poblano avocado and sriracha ranch. Already come made, already in a container. You don't have to worry about them. And from a menu verbiage, to be able to say stuff like sriracha ranch sounds sexier on your menu, right? Than saying mayonnaise, mustard, and ketchup. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take something very, very basic. And we're just going to kind of use that same thing to kind of start our sandwich. This is what made Subway famous. Come on, guys, think about it. Squirt bottles. It's flavor profiles. Anybody is welcome to come up who wants to taste some Sriracha Ranch. Come on, guys, bring it on up. Let's go. Let's taste. I want some live participation. I want somebody to tell me what they think of it. Free food, absolutely. That's a fork. Oh, that's spoons. I got a finger. There, yeah. So the Sriracha Ranch is here, and the Poblano avocado. Now listen, this Poblano avocado, it should be a no-brainer, guys. This should be on every sandwich. Perfect. And there's a trash can right here. Let me bring it to the other end of the table, on the far side. That's a Poblano avocado. Say that again.
I said, oh, wow.
Oh, wow. All right. Where are you from?
Seattle, Washington.
Seattle, Washington gives me an oh, wow. Okay, perfect. Love it. So you see, so what we're saying here is that you don't have to go out and manufacture stuff, guys. It's out there. It's available. You're going to be serving it at the end for you guys. Yeah, we're going to have the mac and cheese, the burnt ends, the cornbread crumble, and all of that at the end. So you guys get to taste it.
So this is the
Now, shout out. What did you like? Did you like it, young lady?
Yes.
And where are you from?
Georgia.
Georgia likes it. So now we've got Georgia and Seattle. We're crossing the country pretty quickly here. Yeah, that's got. Where are you from, sir?
Tacoma, Washington.
And what did you think?
Great. We actually make this ourselves.
So you see what I'm saying, though? It's the thing about this is consistency.
And these are really good with French fries.
Yes. Oh, God, yeah. Well, I got a great French fry story coming in now. Yeah. These are fantastic as dippers for French fries. This is a way of getting more money. So let's go back to that McDonald's story. When they got into the breakfast game, out of necessity, they were developing a flavoring for French fries. That was going to be their next big move. Outside, now, you know that you can probably not buy another cheese stick if your life depends on it, right? McDonald's stepped into cheese sticks, and I think we're all going to be held captive now. I mean, but the bottom line is they were in this thing where they were actually doing taste profiling to do flavors for French fries. We're coming out with 4 flavors for French fries in a few months that come in these little plastic pouches. You cut the pouch and you pour it into your squirt bottle. It comes in a ranch, a Parmesan cheese, a lemon Parmesan cheese, a barbecue, and a sriracha. All you do is fry your French fries, a quick squirt, toss them just like you would buffalo wings. The difference is they do not come out greasy. So now what you can do is you can serve flavored fries. You're already using one singular fry. This gives you something on your menu to do 4 different fries with 4 different squirt bottles. So here's a chance to sell different flavors and get a price. So say your regular fries are $2.25, $2.50 a basket. Flavored fries should be $3.50, maybe $3.75. These are ways of actually adding a flavor to an item without redeveloping your menu. You're already doing the French fries. This is adding a squirt. How easy is that? All right, we'll go back to this. So, guys, overall, let's get a big shout out. Is this something that you would think of using? We had everything from Washington, right? All right, let's get back to this BLT. All right, so produce. I'm not going to talk about it. This is the hardest thing in the business, right? Keeping produce fresh. Number one idea, I'm going to give you all the tricks of my trade. When I keep produce in my cooler, and you guys are probably using a lot of things in your, do you have walk-ins or do you have reach-ins? All right, and you're constantly going in and out because you got everything pretty much in there, right? It's the gateway to food service for you. I use styrofoam coolers, and I put holes in the top, and I put anything that is like herbs, lettuces, and items like that, because what kills my produce in my refrigerators, especially if they're opening and closing all the time, is moisture. Moisture is the enemy to produce. So by keeping them in styrofoam coolers with some holes in the top to let the air in them, it will last almost 3 times as long. So when you get your lettuce, Take your lettuce out, put it in a style, have a box for style. It's just a great way of doing it. I know they want you to buy the expensive Cambros and everything else, but be quite honest, the styrofoam coolers work great. We used to keep all our herbs in there because if you put herbs in a refrigerator, they're destroyed overnight, technically. So it's a great way of going about it. But in order to have great hamburgers and great everything, it all breaks down to having good produce as well. All righty. Right, Jake?
That's right.
And Jake's working on a great price for you all. Right, Jake?
Yeah. It's a tough year for produce this year.
Oh, God, it's going to be brutal.
We're hoping it'll be better very soon.
So we went from California having no rain to California having nothing but rain. Same thing in Texas. Okay. All right, you see what I just did there with that lettuce? Pretty simple execution, right? But it's building my platform. And then most important next item, right? The old tomato. What kind of lettuce is that? That's romaine. And that's, so I don't mess around with just buying commodity romaine. I'll just buy the hearts. Do you know why? Your cook's going to throw the outside leaves away anyway. So you might as well spend a little bit more money getting the heart and using 95% of it versus buying a big head where they rip off the outer leaves and you're throwing it in the trash can anyway. And the beauty of this is, because it's cleaned and ready to go, it's a small cube in a box, so you're going to have less storage in your refrigerator. So a lot of these kind of things is what companies like Brinker and a lot of big chains. This is how they operate. They look at, number one, labor-saving devices, and they look at waste and what we call shrink in the business. So you're constantly looking at, yes, it's a little bit more expensive, but am I saving labor or am I not throwing it away at the end of the day? Because how many, we all go grocery shopping, right? Our eyes are bigger than hell. We go out there, we buy all this stuff, and at the end of the week, it's garbage day, and you're going, oh, God, you're throwing stuff out that you never quite got to. Well, it's no different in the restaurant business. We've got to look at what do we think we're going to be using. And sometimes, how many people use pre-cooked bacon? All right, there's some great new stuff coming out right now. Thicker, looks better. But the one trick is, have you ever had a hamburger where they put the pre-cooked bacon on it without heating it up? Yeah, you have. Believe me. Have you ever had a Subway sandwich where they put the bacon in the Subway sandwich? Right, and you see that? The trick of any bacon is warm it up or keep it under a heat lamp. Do not serve it straight out of the packet onto the dish. Doesn't work. So this is actually really good bacon because, you know, for a BLT, it needs to be good bacon. But you just have to kind of double it up. This is a Californian bacon. Oh, look at the size of this stuff. But don't be cheap on a BLT because the bacon is a lot cheaper than the hamburger patty. Look at these beautiful pieces of bacon here. Oh, I know you guys have all just had breakfast. Plenty of tomato. I swear to God, I was Italian with that much tomato, wouldn't you? And this is what makes it sinful, is the pork belly. Now, let me ask you a question. How much do you think this is going to be worth? Well, I'd say $7. I'm happy at $7. I might put because it's pig on pig on pig. I might do the chicharron on the side, so it really have some fun with it. So we kind of like the pig out, but it's sometimes, you know something. It's those kind of little gimmicks. Anybody been down to Miami, South Beach area? God, you guys got to get out. There's a place called Yard House down there. Yardbird. And this is what they're famous for, this style of cooking. And they get some serious money for it. But, watch. That is a good-looking sandwich anywhere. I think we're going to make it the full pig out because the chicharron, those ones I was showing you earlier when they're fried up, turn into these little puppies. Oh my God. Now that's definitely the pig plate. And then we're going to finish with my new favorite item in the world, sriracha seasoning. They spray the sriracha on these giant big drums, and the drums are warm, and it heats them, and it dries the sriracha on the drum, and then they scrape them, and they get this. And God, this is just revolutionizing sriracha. So now it can go on anything. So now you're bringing the flavor of sriracha anywhere you go. So there you are. It's a simple BLT that's made a little bit more luxurious, but how much skill did you think it took to make that? Nothing. Do you know what the most important thing is, and I think what we all lose focus on? We spend the time ordering the product, receiving the product, putting the product in the refrigerator, and then we get in the weeds and we shovel it out as if it's manure. We just bang it out the window. Let's just get it out of there after all of that time and effort put into it. Purchasing it, receiving it, getting the right price for it and all of that, and then we lose all the time. At the end, at the finished product time, we just bang it out. And it happens here. It happens everywhere. So sometimes, everybody heard of a concept called Let Us Entertain You. It's a group that owned a ton of, I mean, God, I think they own 1,000 restaurants. What they do is they don't wash lettuce. Nobody ever said, bring me the person that chopped and washed the lettuce. When's the last time you've asked them to come to your table? Or the one that peeled the carrots, or shredded the lettuce, or the coleslaw mix? No. Wow, that's a great looking sandwich. Can I send my thing into the chef? That's a great looking sandwich. That is where it matters. So you really got to wonder, how do you purchase and look at product that you can get it out looking like this? Because you want your people in your kitchen spending the time building the plate, not chopping lettuce, not defrosting items. You want them to be builders. And by building means picking some of the right items. Your menus might be tighter. To be quite honest with you, that's where we're going. Tighter menus, better execution. So what I always do is P-mix. I look at the P-mix. I look at the profitability of all plates. I go, if it ain't making money, it ain't happening. I worked for this big, burly guy out of Pittsburgh years ago. He was my mentor, and he used to say to me, Neil, if it's pretty and it makes money, let's do it. If it don't make money, forget about it. It's not happening. So, and really, that's what it is. If you can build a better burger, a better sandwich, and a couple of better items, then concentrate on how do I get there and make it a little easier in the kitchen and not have them spend their time and your money chopping, because nobody, if labor goes to $15 an hour, that's some expensive bloody lettuce, right? And people love to do those menial tasks. Let me tell you, people love to do the boring menial tasks. More cooks will like to do that and peel your vegetables than to be on the wheel and cooking the food. It's easy to be the prep guy. Anyway, BLT. Okay, so we talked about chicharron, and so we know that we're going to make some money on that. We've talked about the pork belly, and the beauty of the pork belly is you can keep it in your freezer and take out one. They're packed really small. Did I open the package? They're packed real small. So the beauty of it is you're not going to waste anything. And that's, to me, is the most important part. If I came to you and talked to you about a menu item and there's waste on it, you need to shoot me. Because the bottom line is the bottom line. So you look at items that are 100% usable, that you can refrigerate and hold, so you got the whole week to sell it. You know, it doesn't have to be that I opened it today and I got to sell the whole lot today, because that puts a lot of pressure on everyone. You're utilizing byproducts that you've already got. You've already got tomatoes, you've already got onions, and you've already got jalapenos. You need to be on top of it. That's what I have my prep guy doing. Make a pico de gallo. Fresh pico de gallo on top of your nachos. All right. So we'll talk about these burnt ends. Let's go a little further with them. So you got the burnt ends. How many people do tacos here? All right, so here we got these burnt ends. So now we can use these burnt ends as what? Thank you. So now we've got carnitas. So now we're using them in multiple usages, right? So we're taking that, and then we're taking a basic raw coleslaw mix. And these guys have got some good stuff back here. They had shredded daikon. Oh my God. So you're gonna put that daikon in there with the cabbage and the carrots. But just because I'm all about you guys making money, we're gonna make that dressing, we're gonna add that poblano avocado mayonnaise to make our coleslaw. So now you've got this spicy coleslaw that we could use as a side to the burnt ends or the baked beans or to anything that you're frying, right? So now we've got an extra usage for the product. But then we're going to use this dry for a taco, so it gives you the crunch on the taco. But I put the poblano in my squirt bottle, put my taco down, quick zigzags. I've got burnt ends. I got cruda, technically, raw vegetables. I've got the same dressing that we're using in multiple other applications, and now I've got an extra dish on my menu with very little labor. The only expense I would be really incurring to build that dish, because I can make my pico de gallo once again from my hamburger setup, is my tortillas. And these things are pretty cheap. So you're looking at an item, a burnt end item that can give you multiple plates. And actually, forget about the pork belly for a minute. All right, let's erase. You could actually take this pork ends, heat them up, and use them for the BLT. So if you were using the pork ends, you could use them for a BLT, you can use them for a taco, and you can use them as a barbecue Kansas City burnt ends with coleslaw and beans on the side. You can just do it as a barbecue kind of little plate. So that's what I'm talking about, is the ability to look at a couple of products and to be able to bring them further forward without increasing your inventory, because inventory is one of the hardest parts of the game, right? So how are we doing on time? Wow. I'm like, boy, I got a suntan yesterday, didn't I? Jesus. I'm in trouble when I go to New York and they're not expecting me to have a suntan, so I'm going to have to tell them where I was. So let's talk about French fries. So we talked about the 4 items, but has anybody tried the Sidewinders? Thank you. Are you selling them now? What's the plate coverage like? All right. Okay, so we're going to get into business and we're going to get a Chick-fil-A, right? Because Chick-fil-A is the only other place in the world that you only get 5 or 6 French fries and we're all happy to pay for it. So Sidewinders are these great looking. You ready for a little close-in on the Sidewinder? There you go. Look at that. Oh, yeah. You got it? Isn't that kind of cute? All right. It's a kind of spiral cut, meaty potato. But what you're doing is, like the gentleman over here said, you're not putting as many French fries on the plate. But what's even cooler about them is that you're taking them, and now we're going to plate them up with a sriracha seasoning or a seasoning of your liking. And the same guy said a few minutes ago, you're using that sriracha ranch as your dipping sauce. So now you got spicy Sidewinders with dipping sauce. How much do you think you can sell that for? A basket of that? Yeah, but you see what I'm saying? Is it easy? You don't have to have a genius back in the kitchen to knock that one out, right? But what sounds better? Sidewinder fries or French fries? Sidewinder sounds good. It's got a little bit of a kind of flip to it. It's all about marketing. It's all about making it sound a hell of a lot sexier, right? So, I mean, this is really where we're kind of trying to talk about. I know a lot of you guys a lot of people don't have food. Food's kind of sometimes a bit of a nuisance unless it's really managed, and sometimes we don't want to manage it because we're dealing with kids, and it becomes a hardship. But to be quite honest, everything that you look at that's working in America right now, as far as concepts and stuff, all have some sort of food to it. Food, especially with these, I hate to use this word again, I'm going to choke in a minute. Millennials, they want to go places where they can snack. Their whole lifestyle is now snacking. So we've got to bring them forward with concepts that allow them to snack, allow them to be able to eat foods, groups, and food times whenever they want. So that's why we're looking at the Sidewinders. That's why we're looking at the sexier mayonnaises. But we're not redeveloping what we're doing. How many guys have done a pulled pork pizza? Thank you. Did it work good with the jalapenos and items like that? I mean, honestly, you've got offering that like blackboard special because it's what, if you go to a lot of these trendy restaurants now, everything is in blackboard art. Even at the house nowadays, my wife has some sort of blackboard something or other everywhere, right? But it's what's happening out there. So I think that we kind of follow into that kind of trend, is to have that blackboard back out there. People like to buy something if they think it's special. If you've ever had something on a special board, it sells great, and you put it on the menu, it dies. So people love the concept that you're giving them something special. So I really would play up to that. I mean, play up to that. What's very successful in a lot of places is LTO, limited time offers. I don't know, social media, I'm sure that you guys are like big into the social media scene now, because that's, if you're not, you're really leaving a lot of stuff behind. It's how people communicate. If you have something, an LTO or limited time offer of some kind of cool item, and you're bundling it with a ticket, or your shoe rental or whatever else, and you're having somebody post it on social media and you're banging it out, people are interested in LTOs, are interested in social media, they're interested in seeing what's happening. And sometimes it's as easy as that. It's as easy as bringing andouille sausage in and doing a Cajun burger, blackening the burger, sliced andouille, cheese on top. There's nothing hard about it, but you got a Cajun burger, bang, it goes on the social media. It goes along with some sort of deal for the bowling. It could be, I don't know, something to do with the soda, because you make a lot of money on soda and iced tea. So maybe items like that, but you kind of package it. That is where we're seeing the biggest move in the business. Food trucks. Take something out of their book. They drive up to a place, and how they advertise where they're parking that day? Social media. Before you know it, they've got lines of people outside. It works. So really, if there's one area you want to do food and you want to do it fun, think about social media. In my case, I'd have to have my daughter do it, because I'm not very good at that stuff. But there are people out there, members of your family, that could actually be out there blogging for you on your behalf. Tweeting, because Facebook's out of style now, right? Nobody wants to be on Facebook because you've been hunted down. But the new deal is that you really need to do like these limited time offer specials, bundle them, and blitz it on social media. You will be shocked at the results. I mean, really shocked. Wow, we're running way ahead. So we've got questions. I think I'm like, I should be one of those guys doing the auctioning or something. I've been moving so fast, right? But we got any questions? Come on, you can't be that quiet. Yes, sir. Absolutely. How many of us go to Sam's and stuff on a Saturday morning and love the sampling? Right? Come on. So, hey, our customers are exactly the same way we are. The hardest part to selling food is people being willing to trust you, right? So if you sample stuff, you develop that trust. You develop that flavor. The other thing on that social media thing is, as you're sampling, do a little YouTube and bang that out there. Or just do a couple of testimonials and stuff like that from locals. Yeah, but absolutely, you've got to get it in people's mouth. If you get it in their mouths, it's going to be a winner. Yesterday at the bar when the Pats lost, sad time. Please don't tell me there's anybody from Alabama in here. I don't want to hear it today about college football either. The deal is that you get it out there, you sample it, and you've got it. You've got to get it in people's mouths, and you've got to be sure about it. But the guy at the bar yesterday, he sold the entire bar on those nachos. Hey, we're out there, and he's talking about pork and pineapple, and I'm thinking nachos, your regular nachos, right? But do you know why he did that? Think about it. It was the quickest item they made. He was like banging them out left, right, and center because it doesn't take any work to make nachos. It took me 45 minutes to get my breakfast plate. It took 10 minutes to get the nachos. The guy knew what he was doing. So think about it in your operation. What are you selling? Don't sell the stuff that takes all day to get out. Nachos are quick. I mean, you've already got the cheese sauce heated up and everything else. It's like going to Build-A-Bear. Everything's laid out for you. Let's go, right? Any other questions? Yes, sir.
I've heard that mac and cheese is just really taking off around the country. What are some of the variations that you would recommend other than what you presented today?
All right, so the sky's the limit. The mac and cheese has become, well, of course, it's the lobster mac and cheese, crawfish mac and cheese, crawfish and green onion mac and cheese, out of this world with a little bit of Cajun seasoning. The sky's the limit. We're doing anything you can think of. Pork belly mac and cheese. I mean, it's that stage where people are actually taking a basic mac and cheese, and if you're going to buy one, buy the white one, the white mac and cheese. If you're going to buy one and you're going to make your own mixes and play with it yourself, it's very hard to throw out the yellow one and start mixing stuff because your eye keeps going back to the yellow. All right, and you all know that Kraft has taken the food coloring out of it and going to natural food coloring, so now it's going to be a lot safer. So that's kind of nice to know. But the bottom line is the white mac and cheese allows you to fold anything into it. Yeah, I mean, you can even go as basic as doing a hamburger mac and cheese. You're putting your hamburger in there and then dicing up, doing a pico de gallo, and actually doing a hamburger one. You can do the ones with the burnt ends. It's the sky's the limit. Some places will have the mac and cheese, and then they'll have a list of offerings, and you can build your own mac and cheese. And that's been really successful because if you think about it, what made, and I hate, God bless them, Chipotle so big, and what made Subway so big is because it allows us to make the decision about what we're putting on the sandwich. We don't want to be told what we're putting on a sandwich. We like to say, I want that, I don't like onion, I don't like black olive. Chipotle was the same way. You come in, you pick your item, you pick it whether you want a bowl, you want a tortilla, how you want it. So you're technically building food how you want it. Anytime you have an opportunity, it's hard though, labor-wise, but on the mac and cheese, it's pretty easy. You could have like an 8-ingredient profile and allow them to do a combination. So that would give them how many? Anybody in math here? A minimum of 64 ideas, right? But the deal is it gives you an opportunity to build something that is pretty inexpensive. And I've seen somebody do it that was really cool. They served it in the old Chinese paper box with the little metal handle. So when it comes out to you, they're using a long fork, so it's almost like a nice teaspoon. It's a long fork, and it comes in that little box, the Chinese takeout box. So it's kind of cool. It's a good look. It's inexpensive, and you're making some money. But honestly, the sky's the limit. I've seen it's insane what you can do with it, but it's very, very inexpensive for you. It's a great item. Anybody else? Come on, guys, you're going to have to keep me going for 15 more minutes before I can send you good.
So then on your menu, you want to put your biggest profit maker front and center, or?
All right, I'm glad you brought that up. So there's this school of thought, right, about how to design menus. And if you think about it, it all went back to how menus used to be treefold. Remember, they used to be treefold, and you'd put the stuff to your right side, and then right center pane. And listen, we're bookies. We all look for the price first, right? But honestly, people have a tendency to go to the right versus the left. That's the only one I actually adhere to. Boxing. Like in the 80s, if you thought about TGI Fridays and all those guys, which lends into the style that you guys do, boxing items out. So, so for instance, your burger's your best player or your pizza is boxing those items in the right side panes so it brings your eye straight to them. But you know something? We're all cheap at the end, at some way in our lives. We all think about money, so let's be real. So we all like when we feel that there's a value, and sometimes that's what I really like to do on a menu is kind of to build a value proposition in that area, in the eye area on the right. So whether it's including a drink in your particular case or including something, I like to lead people into stuff that I can execute quickly. So even though it might be the most profitable item you have, if it takes 25 minutes to produce, I'd start looking at a new profitable item that I can pop out in 10 minutes. Because as you well know, we've become a generation of no longer wanting to sit down and take 3 hours for dinner. I actually had dinner in a restaurant a couple of nights ago, this fancy restaurant in Houston, because I had some chef buddies in and they wanted to go. Oh my God, I was ready to tear my hair out. Took 2.5 hours to eat. You know, it was like a 15-minute lull between each course, and I was like, because I'm ADD anyway, I was like going nuts. But that's what we've become. We like to eat quicker. So to be quite honest, I like my profitable items to be my nachos, to be my add-on items and stuff like that, and really play into those, the speed items. And to be honest, if you have an item that you know is a bit of a hog, it's hard to get out, you might want to put a little notation, takes a few minutes extra. People like, if you tell that, people are quite good about it. But if in a lot of kitchens, and believe me, it happened in my own, you get an order for 6 or 8 people and 7 people get fed, and you got that one item that's lagging the menu, right? So it is the right side. Boxing is good, but put the items that you really feel comfy that you can pop out, is how I go about it. Yes?
When do you see the next, let's say, 3 new trends coming up?
Well, I mentioned the poke thing. I'm shocked. The poke thing it's going to come across America because it's so simple. And we have that generation of people that are eating into it. Hamburgers are going to continue to build momentum. It's not going away. The fact that people are into this we're going back to what we call real food for real people. So you're going to see way more vegetable applications coming in. I mean, who would have ever thought that roasted cauliflower would be a big play, right? I mean, if you grew up eating cauliflower, you remember it used to float in water. It was like, oh my God, it had no taste. And my mother used to kill that stuff. But roasted cauliflowers, vegetables are big. Burgers are not going away. Home fried chicken fry, that is going nowhere. You're seeing more and more going back to your bacons are still back in play. The pork belly is not going anywhere. It's going to fall off a little bit, but it's still there. We're finding that people are going to want everything that you can say that is, I read a great, I think it's here. Did anybody buy a sandwich here at, anybody buy a sandwich at Starbucks? They've got this paper bag. You've got to go buy a sandwich just to bring the paper bag home because I think you're going to have to use this on your menus. They have this, we buy and make in an artisanal way. They got a company making the sandwiches. What are you talking about? In other words, are telling everybody that they're making real food for real people, but they've got this beautiful poem on the bag. If you've ever went into a Chipotle always used to say, we buy local produce. My favorite line, when available. Well, you're $5 higher, forget about it. I'm going the one from California. No, but the bottom line is, it's using that, we're buying products that are good. The reason I brought up the Kraft, and this is going to be huge. Does everybody here know, and I don't know, does everybody know that petroleum distillates make what in food? Food coloring. I made petroleum distillates. Yeah, I learned this the hard way. So Kraft, understanding that, are taking out the yellow food color number 5 out of their mac and cheese and stuff, and they're going back to what we used centuries ago, which is annotto. Annotto is a seed that you crush, and it's beautiful. It's a colorant used in Latin America all over, and it was actually used in England the first time in food for manufacturing, because the rich would only buy cheese that had a creamy, bronzy color. Why? Because cream makes this beautiful kind of buttercup color. So they figured out if they put a little bit of this annotto in the cheese, they could make the cheap cheese look expensive. So we're going back to doing that. So I guess a few hundred years ago, they knew exactly what they were doing, and then we kind of got into this food coloring. So you're going to see stuff that if you can talk about anything that you can talk about, you're making it at your place, or you're building. I love that word. We're building things at your place. Gluten-free is not going anywhere, but I don't think it's driving as hard as it was. We used to, I did a thing with Six Flags, and what it did was you can buy a gluten-free hamburger bun in a bag, and you can have it in your restaurant. And what you do is when they order the hamburger, you put the hamburger on the plate, and then you give them the bun in the bag. It's just like doing kosher food. It's already sealed. It comes out to you. But that's about as much as I would do with the gluten-free as far as the bun goes. You don't want to open the bun in your kitchen. You want to bring it out in the bag to them. Why? Contamination. And you never want to say that you have a gluten-free environment, because none of you have. Nobody has. I can't legally use the word gluten-friendly, none either. That can get you in trouble. There is disclaimers that you can put. We have some gluten-free products, but we are not a gluten-free environment. You probably want to use that in a nice little thing on the bottom. Seafood. If you're doing fried fish at your properties and everything else, buy Alaskan or buy Portico Simply. Portico Simply has no additives, 100% clean, and Alaskan seafood is 100% sustainable. So if you're buying Alaskan pollock's a really inexpensive item, makes great fish and chips. Fish and chips is always a great seller, but now you can put the word in that we support Alaskan sustainable seafood. There is a group of people that's important to. It's also good social media pieces. Anytime that you can say that you're doing something that is better for food, use it in your social media. You might be shocked who you could draw in. It's kind of shocking, because if you think about bowling alleys years ago, the food was never healthy, right? So are you doing all beef hot dogs? You want to tell people you're doing all beef hot dogs, right? If you're doing natural casing, you want to tell them you're doing natural casing. If you're using whole muscle chicken, hormone free, put it out there, because all chicken's hormone free. You might as well use the word. Everybody else is using it. That is what we're going to start seeing. I can't see big food trends happening. It's kind of slowed down a little. But I start to see more of this getting back to a more earthy approach to food. And how I like to kind of say it is real food for real people. Going back to, like, eggs are still good for us, thank God. I think they got off that bandwagon. They're not. Oh yeah, they had that whole thing about bacon and smoked foods being carcinogens. Do you see that in Time Life magazine and everything? They put a big thing about how we can all get cancer from eating bacon. All right, so it's kind of funny. I had a granduncle Mick that was still riding a bike at 95 years of age, going to look at his cattle, and he ate bacon and eggs every single day of the week. So I think they're trying to play it. I think a lot of manufactured food we could do with less manufactured food, or be more open to what it is. A lot of the items that you get now are frozen. Frozen is very good, because what they do is, to be quite honest, when you freeze food, you're taking it at the best it is and you're freezing it, to be quite honest. Legumes, items like that, you're better off buying frozen, to be quite honest. They got some great lines of grains that are coming out that are frozen. I'm not a big advocate, I hate to say this, I might get shot for this from my own company, but canned. I think frozen is come so far, so quick, that they're sealing all the goodness in without adding anything to it. And to me, that's pretty important. So if you can deliver those kind of things. Vegan instead of vegetarian. Vegetarians will eat vegan, but vegan won't eat vegetarian. So if you're going to do one, offer a vegan dish, and you'll get two out of one out of it. It's a great way of looking at it. Let's think about biggest hamburger chain coming out of New York City. Shake Shack. Hey, frozen custard. Let me tell you, that is in. I've got a buddy opening the place in Houston, and frozen custard's huge. The guy over here doing the smoothies. These are great items that you can put out here in your operation that kind of are easy to make, kind of fun. But let me tell you, high school girls are drinking smoothies like crazy. So don't just get caught up in the same offerings of sodas and stuff. Every time you read something, soda is bad. I know it's a hell of a profit margin, but sodas are, they're going to keep pounding them. They're going to keep pounding sodas. Some of these kind of specialty drinks now out there, you know, some of the specialty sodas and natural sodas. It's harder to turn a profit on it, but if you're selling it in its existing bottle, you're going to get name brand recognition, and you should be able to get the same price structure as Starbucks does. But any of these smoothie operation, this kind of items that are trending right now, it's pretty cool. I think that generation is going to be gravitating more to those kind of items. I have to get the lady first. I'm sorry.
What do you think about the unsandwiches, like Jimmy John's unsandwiches? Are they gonna take off or not?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm waiting to see that because overall I'm not a huge fan of the sandwich game myself, but I think that you're starting to see more plays on less carb action, less play. I don't know. It should be interesting. That one is wide open. I'd hate to. Somebody offered me stock to buy stock in 1989, 90 for Starbucks, and I said, nobody's going to pay $4 for a cup of coffee. So I'm the last person you want to ask about that one because it's hit or miss. I think it's smart on their behalf to be able to do something different that changes their perception in the market because there's so many sandwich concepts. So by doing something like that, they allow themselves the ability to get out there on social media and make a big bang and at least keep their name in the go. But listen, nobody delivers sandwiches to your offices like they do. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, they'll run over to your office for one sandwich in a bag. I don't get it, but it seems to be working. They're opening left, right, and center. But anybody ever own a Subway sandwich franchise in here? No, you got to own a lot of them. You got to own a lot of them because there's not an awful lot at the end of the day. So I really applaud them for trying to think somewhere outside the box and going forward, but I couldn't tell you. I wouldn't put my money on it yet, though.
I want to try a couple of these ideas. Is there a way to buy smaller portions, I guess, instead of getting the big bulk of
Well, actually, on all of these items, there's packed small boxes. Yeah, so purposely, anything that I work on, we call it innovation, but it's not innovation. It's taking items that anybody can play with. Because if I started just doing innovation, it'd be so far over everybody's head, it'd be a waste of time. So all of these items that we're doing, like the pork pieces, the burnt ends, should I say, the pork bellies, are all done in small unit boxes because nobody wants giant boxes. I mean, we're even getting to, so we'll go back to the dressings. We're packing the dressings 2 in a box now. It used to be 4. Oh my God, I've been looking in the bottom of my refrigerator at 4 gallons of ranch for weeks. I'm going, when are we ever going to get rid of that? And then somebody orders it when we're down to 2. I'm going, now I got 6. It's like, what happened here? No, we're definitely looking at smaller. Now, I do have something cool. How many people do salads in their operations? Very hard to do. Brilliant. We're releasing in about, I'd say it takes about 5 months to get to market, 5 dressings, 100% green, all natural, and they're all vinaigrettes. Kind of sexier, for a lot of them for catering, but you can play into this. One's a blackberry Zinfandel, blackberry, black peppercorn, and Zinfandel. One is a Chardonnay fresh herb. One is, God, I can't even remember my own stuff now. Guajillo pineapple. The Guajillo pineapple is off the hook. It's my favorite. I mean, oh my God, it's unbelievable. You can use it for dressings. You can use it for marinades. I mean, it's fantastic. And then I can't even remember what the other 2 are. One's blood orange vinaigrette. So it's a citrus vinaigrette, but it's using blood orange. So it's got that kind of nice color. But the reason I'm using these is, and once again, I'm going to choke on that word, millennials, they're constantly looking for that flavor. To them, everything is flavor. I mean, the more you look at it, it's flavor, 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 flavor. So it's verbiage and flavor, and if you can use the word natural and you can use the word green label and it doesn't have a whole load of chemical reactions on the back, it's really big. So that's our next move. On the burnt ends and the pork bellies, it's all minimal cures. Nothing strange on the back, although they, of course, are smoked, so according to the government, the carcinogens, but I have a hard time believing that. that's based on really smoking for a super long time. Texas barbecue, we do it for 11 hours. We still eat it. We still love it. But I think there's a lot of other things a lot worse than smoking food. I go back to our ancestors. What did we do? Two different things to be able to survive. We smoked food and we cured with salt. They've been doing it since the inception of man. That's the first thing that we learned how to do because we didn't have refrigeration. I have a hard time believing that it's all so bad all of a sudden. It's right up there with the egg. Anything else? Sir?
You know, we all own bowling centers, and a lot of us have snack bars, and some are glorified restaurants with them. But one thing that I do works really well. You used to talk about sauces. I think it might be Marzetti that makes it, but it's like the garlic parm, habanero, sriracha bourbon, phenomenal sauces. Boneless wings, toss them. You can charge $2 more for 50 cents in your sauce. Unbelievable moneymaker.
That Marzetti's, what is it, bourbon sriracha is off the hook. But like I said, listen, the money making is dips and whips. I mean, dips and snacks. The bottom line is, anytime you can add dips and flavors to French fries, to chicken tenders, to any single item, it's got a perceived value. You don't need a genius to do it. You can go as far as using the small little cups for dipping, and you can sell them a variety package where you can buy it with 2 dips, 3 dips, 4 dips, 5 dips. I mean, you can have a lot of fun with it, but I mean, a really, really great point. The game is really where you add a value-added item to a product you're already doing. So by adding the flavors to your French fries, by adding your dips, that's where the money is because you're already making the stuff. So how do I make a 4-way play on that? How do I get the trivector? Or the Powerball? That would be even better, wouldn't it? Thank you, though. You're right on. And the snack bars. Snack bars, this is an area I really start looking into. There is so many cool snacks out there now. Really, you guys go to all the trade shows and everything else, so I'm sorry you see even more than I do. But the snack bars, these hummus packs. Hummus, God, my God, hummus is on every menu now. Those kind of flavors are out there. I mean, it's a great time to maybe look forward and go, okay, what have I got on my snack packs? What do I have on those grab-and-go kind of items? Because you'll sell as much on your grab-and-go items as you will sell from your menu item. And maybe you can use that snack area as a place to do some... you guys want to look at this pret-a-manger. It's P-R-E-T space A and then manager. It's French. Manager. So it's pret-a-manger. But the bottom line is, all they're doing is making some of the sandwiches and wrapping them in really nice brown bags with window panes and stuff like that. You could be as low tech because you're not selling them outside to the public. You're selling them for interior eating. You could be as low tech as a wax pencil, ham and cheese, whatever. Actually, I think that's kind of sexy because it looks, it's really, I'm making it right here. It's right here. It's happening here. And maybe a snack area, maybe you want to look at that snack area being a merchandising area for some of these items. I mean, if I walked into your place and I could grab a soda and a sandwich and just walk right down and not have to interface with having to order it and having to wait for it, I could just grab something as I walk in and go, okay, I'm going to grab a sandwich and a beer. I'm going, bang. Maybe that's where it's going. We're seeing it in the universities. That's where it's going. It's going in these kind of grab-and-go kind of scenarios. That's where the industry is going. People want to be able to eat when they want to, and people don't want to wait. They don't want to wait. So, I mean, maybe I would be definitely testing it if I have a bigger operation. I would definitely testing it because you're already doing stuff in your kitchen. Why not take it forward?
We've got time for one more question.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
It's not really a question. I just wanted to add on to the things you've been talking about. When you talk about taking something you already have. So you drop your fries, and while you're at it, you take some fresh garlic and mince it up and put it on your flat top and saute it a little bit. And then the fries come out, you dump them in a bowl, put the garlic on top of it, mix it all together, and then either put some Parmesan shavings or the good Kraft, Parmesan salt and
absolutely.
and they love it.
The number one selling item in San Francisco at the ballparks, what? Garlic. They buy pallets of garlic, chopped garlic from us, and that's the same thing. It's garlic fries. Yeah. Garlic, butter, and parmesan, and they mount it up, and you get a bucket of them.
Yep.
It's unbelievable. I couldn't believe it. Somebody told me about it. I had to go see. When I went in there, I couldn't believe how it was going. It's like they were drenched and people are just buying it by the boatload.
And then you get your deep fried pickle chips.
Oh, deep fried pickle chips. You can't beat them.
That everybody loves.
Yeah.
One of the things that we tried to do, because we're a small center anyway, was have a daily special
All right, a daily special.
that you won't necessarily see on a bowling center menu. Pork chops and mashed potatoes, meatloaf, country fried steak.
See, and that's the whole concept of the.
We'll have a different special.
Do you put it out on social media?
Yep.
Perfect. So here we go. A small bowling alley, doing everything from chicken fried steak to pork and mashed potatoes on a different item every day, and putting it out there on social media. And do you do it? Do you just do a small amount, and when it's out, it's out?
Not really. It depends on what it is and what the sell pattern is prior to that.
So you're building a whole sell pattern for it and everything. Oh, God. That's how you run business. Well done. So thank you very much for your time. There's going to be mac and cheese and burnt ends at the back.
Can I have everybody attention for 1 second?